All right, guys, we are live. It is Friday with Rick. If you guys don't know me, my name is Rick Ginn. I've been doing wholesaling going on 21 years right now. I absolutely love this business. And we are here all to talk about how to get started on like an extreme low budget. And honestly, $500 is a lot more than when I started out wholesaling. So if you're like, Rick, how the heck am I going to get $500? Honestly, you can technically do this business with $0. Is it the easiest thing? No, but I'm going to give you ideas today on really you can use this with a zero budget up to 500, and obviously as you go higher in numbers you can do more and more things. But I will tell you this, here's the secret you have to understand is if you can learn how to wholesale on little to no money, you can do amazing things. I find people who try to start and throw money at everything in wholesaling, massive coaches, mentors, all these giant groups, they go mastermind to mastermind. They never really do anything and they never completely take off. Why? Because they never truly figured out how to master the art of wholesaling. You cannot buy your way into this. The people that do the best take the most action and they immerse themselves in it. So if you're at $0 or 500, it's the same thing. I'm here to tell you. So I did it with a little bit of money, about $300. And I'm going to show you how, if I was going to start today with $500 or less, exactly what to do step by step. Not only am I going to do that, I'm going to show you the marketing methods you want to do. And I'm going to break it down like dollar for dollar. It's really simple. And I am somewhat of an expert on this and I know how to do it. I have people that bring me leads all the time that have spent $0. So 500 is like a luxury item. So here's what we're going to do. This live stream is for you guys. Why do I do this? Number one, I freaking love this stuff. Number two, I want to create a legacy and help out as many people as possible. I feel the gurus in wholesaling, it's completely out of control. And this has been a long time coming. You see, for the first time, there is actually a voice in wholesaling so you can see both sides of the story. Most of you guys only see the guru side and you wonder why there is such a high failure rate. And if you want to know what that failure rate is, 95%. And unfortunately, it's by design because people keep spending money on bad stuff. So what I want you to do is use the comments. If you have a question, put it in that comment section and I will try to answer it. Also, introduce us, let us know which market you're in. And guys, I like to have fun while I'm wholesaling. I don't like to be bored. I am a self-proclaimed ADHD person. So if you like, God, boy, this guy, like what's he doing? I'm on nothing other than just, I'm really happy with life. And without wholesaling, I would not be sitting in front of you today. It's changed my life. You guys know my son, Zachary. So without further ado, and then also the one-on-ones, if you go over to Wholesaling Houses for Real, click that link. You can get line, do a one-on-one. You don't have to go on video. I don't care. But if you have a question, there's probably a couple hundred other people that have the exact same question. So I want to help solve problems. You can't whine with me because I only know how to solve problems and work with you. And remember, guys, I know the journey you're on because I'm still doing it now. And I remember over 20 years ago when I started. So let's get into it. We got to I know it's a little cool out today. It's really overcast in here in Florida. We got to fire this up. Let's go.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, and get the guy go. Time to wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up. Get up.
Okay, so if that didn't shock you, I'll shock you with this comment. So just to let you understand, I was talking earlier is like for the first time in wholesaling and like ever since I've been involved with it, You now have a voice on both sides. And I will tell you the truth, because I will tell you when I think someone's doing good, and because there's always two sides to a story. So the problem is there's a lot of products, there's a lot of coaching services. You have no idea what it's capable of. This did not start till 2013, 14, and it's been problematic. So make sure you do your research on anyone that you're going to pay. By the way, anything with me and Zach, we will never ask you for money. We'll never ask you about crypto. We don't talk about that stuff on this channel because that is just a distraction to waste people's time. And why would you talk about something like that on a real estate channel? It makes no sense to me. What I do or what you do with it is on your own, because we're all on that journey by ourselves. We are all rookies. And my favorite part is when people tell you, I'll tell you how to do AI for wholesaling. Well, it just came out. How are you an expert? I'll tell you how to do digital currency. I'm the expert. And then they make a little bit of money, then they're expert. And then when they're losing their butt, you never hear a word from them. It's plagued this industry and I'm sick of it. Anyways, let's get into it. So how do I turn $500 into 20K? Honestly, the reality is you need to strike up 2 deals, 10K a piece. You need to simplify this, or maybe it might be 3 deals, but you're going to need between 2 and 3 deals to hit that target number. So the first thing is you have to understand the target number that you're going to go after. And guys, by the way, I'm going to get into the stream here. Make sure if you like this information that you smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel, because the more people that subscribe, the more people that like it, the more we can share it, the more we can get the message out it, and the more we can stop you guys getting screwed by gurus that know very little about wholesaling. It's an epidemic, and I'm not talking about the people who did it legitimate. You guys want to pay for it. I don't have a problem with it. I've paid for plenty of services, but wholesaling itself, if you guys are new to it, make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com. I'll put it on the ticker bottom right here. It is 100% a free course. You just give up your email address. That's your only cost. And you get some communications from me and Zach, and that's it. And then we show you what we do in our business. We show you our wholesaling business. We do a 7-figure business, and we show you our wins. We show you our fails, and then we show you the wins we have with you guys. Now, I don't call you students because you're not a student. I don't call you mentees. I got to come up with a word for it. And a lot of nicknames floating out there. I think it's just kind of funny. So let's jump into it. Rick, how do we get that bread with that $500? So first thing, you just have to identify and lay it out. So I'm going to try to make this one short because I want to get to as many lives as I can, because we weren't able to get to everybody the other day. So the first thing is you have to know the items needed to do this. And it's important because a lot of people overlook that as well. You need an internet connection. Well, do I need a computer? Do I not? Number one, these are recommended items. I know not everybody on the stream or anyone who watches this is not going to have it. It's okay. I'm going to give you ideas around it. I will tell you, if you have a car, it makes this exponentially easier. It makes your life exponentially easier. I get it. Cars are expensive. They're a pain in the butt. The maintenance is crazy. The gas is crazy. But eventually, you're all going to need a car. So if you don't have a car, don't fret. I get it. I've been in that position before. So what you want to do is either borrow a car, supply someone with gas, or honestly, you could probably get away with a bike. You could do it on foot, but you're going to have problems hitting numbers on it with foot. So number one, if you have a car, phenomenal. I'm going through a checklist here. Number two, cell phone or internet connection, at least one of them. And guys, you can get internet connection for free at your public library. So if you're on tough times, I'm giving you ideas. Remember, the people who make the money are the ones who take the most action. It's very rarely the ones with the most amount of money. So cell phone or internet connection, both would be preferable, but at least one. And I will tell you this, you are going to have a no holds bar attitude if you're doing this on a $0 to $500 budget, which means you are going to have to go through a lot of obstacles. You are going to have to attack. There's no way around this. If you're just going to go in this and just, I'm going to give it a try. There is no trying $0 to $500. You have to completely immerse yourself and you have to take a massive amount of action. So if you don't have a great attitude in going this, don't worry about the rest of stuff. It won't work. I'm just telling you the truth. Most gurus won't tell you that. It is the truth. The people that do the best with me that don't have money, they are just massive, massive action takers. And I know it's like an abusing word. The next one is you got to go over to freewholesaling.com because you need the education. Well, Rick, I can't afford the education. Me and Zach have 100% fixed it for you. Go over to freewholesaling.com. Go through the modules like 7, 8, 9, 10 times. When I say immersion, I mean immerse. Pretend it's cold water and duck your head all the way down and stay down as long as you can hold your breath and keep reading it over and over. If you're like me, I learned by just doing something over and over. I don't want you to spend months on this, but go ahead and spend some time on it. And remember, wholesaling is to make money while you're learning the process. If you want to sit back and study it for 2 years and wait for the perfect opportunity, you're going to be broke and you're going to run out of time and energy. Wholesaling is something that you build each month when you move on. A lot of people say, hey, Rick, how long is it going to take me? There is no like set time. I've seen people do it in 2 weeks, crazy stuff. And honestly, there's a lot of luck built in that. But when you take a lot of action, you have more opportunities to get lucky. And as you do it, the repetition of talking to sellers, talking to everyone makes you a so much more effective wholesaler, as opposed to people that want to buy a $5,000 or $10,000 course. They think they can spend a couple $1,000s in mail. They're going to have the same challenges you do. They still have to figure out how to talk to sellers, how to qualify them, how to get them under contract, how to get the verbiage right, and then go out and how to attract a cash buyer to take over your contract. It's the same thing. So go over to freewholesaling.com. And guys, here's the best part is I know what percentage you guys have gone through the module. So if I'm on a live with you and you say, hey, I've been through entire free wholesaling, I can click one button and tell me. I don't hang it over your head because I only want to deal with the people that want to be successful. How? You have to take the action. You cannot filter it out. So go through it step by step, get started, and immerse yourself in it. So I will tell you this. I'm going to get more detail as I go down the list. You have to do cold calling on this type of budget. There's no way around it. Why? Because a lot of you don't have a car. It's the fastest way to contact people. And cold calling, it just cuts out the middleman. So you don't have to wait for a piece of mail to hit. You don't have to wait for this, for a door hanger to do. When you call, you find out if they have interest. 95% of the people will not want to do business with you. You have to understand that going into it. And you have to spend a lot of time up front just disqualifying it. And once you get someone that has an interest and motivation, then you have an opportunity to take a deal down. You could call 100, 200 people in a day. How much time would it take you to drive to every one of those people's houses, send the mail, and do all that stuff? For that reason, you can't avoid cold calling is the best way. The reason is I'm not telling you to do SMS because it's not in the budget. $500, you are not going to get an SMS campaign accomplished. There's no way. Maybe do it manually, but I don't think it's going to work. Okay. So we're going to do cold calling. We're going to do probates and foreclosures. Why? Because these are the most highly motivated list, and these lists are not huge. So these are lists like you can mail to. You can write a handwritten letter, stick it in the mail. Your probates are probably less than 50 to 70 in your given market in a month. And then the foreclosures are probably less than 50. So it's less than 100 contacts. So what you can do is you can either skip trace and get their phone number, or you can send them a letter, or you can do both. The reason I pointed this out, because I didn't do probates in the beginning. So I did pre-foreclosures and foreclosures. How do you get them? They're part of your government list. Go on to freewholesaling.com. I'll show you how to do it. These lists are very tiny, guys. They're very manageable. So you can do this within a $30 budget to do that. I didn't put that in my numbers, but I left a room for it. And the other thing you got to get used to is sticky notes. Sticky notes is a reverse driving for dollar method where you put a sticky note on the door and you just simply say, got a quick question about the house, give me a call. It's Rick. And you put a phone number. You put 100 of those on your foreclosures. It could be your probates. It could be your eviction list, whatever it is. And then of that, the people call you back with the ones you want to work with. It saves you time, and you are not sitting there knocking on 100 doors, taking 8 hours of your day. So I'm moving through this. Now, I'm going to start breaking down some specifics. So those are you going to do driving for dollars, which is one of my most preferable methods because it's the fastest way, is you got to pick up 100 driving for dollars minimum per week. That gives you at least 400 for the month to deal with. And guys, this is on the extreme light side. I debated which one I'm going to share with you. If you want to double it, I would double it. And when I say contact list, understand those are people that you actually make contact with. Yes, I want to talk to. So you might have to get 300 or 400 driving for dollars just to get down to that 100. So you go, Rick, 100's a little bit light. Remember, those are contacts. So if you have a list of 300 and you only get a hold of 100, then that would qualify. So it is an aggressive number. The word contact is the key. The next one you have to do is 500 government list contacts. So you take any of your government list. If you don't know how to do this, go over to freewholesaling.com. I go into complete detail on it. They're going to be your probates, your eviction list, your foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, your tax delinquencies, water shutoffs, fire damage. The lists are endless. 500 contacts, which means you're going to have a lot more leads to get those 500 contacts. And then we talked about the probate and foreclosure letters. The letters are cheap, guys. They're really simple. I don't want you sending letters to high equities because you're not going to be able to get it done within 500 bucks. So you're probably saying, Rick, if I got to do cold calling, I got to do what? You're going to have to do skip tracing. So if you're broke and you don't have any money, you start out doing it for free. TruePeopleSearch.com, whitepages.com. You guys can use Spokeo. It's like $10 a month type of service. But here's the deal. The good news is it's free. The bad news is it's extremely painful. It's a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time. And that's just the card you're dealt, and you have to deal with it. Now, what I would do is the onesie twosies, I would pick away on the free ones. And then at some point on this program, you're going to have to do some bulk skip tracing. And if you know what bulk skip tracing is, and I'm going to show you how to do it, it's when you get like 30 to 50 numbers all at once, because to manually skip trace them, it takes anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes for each one. So it becomes a time game. So sometimes you can take your weekends. If you guys or gals sitting around watching a sporting event, like watching the Dolphins get crushed by the Bills this weekend, which is going to be painful, this is how I would do it. And then you're going to wait. I'm just going to tell you, you're going to run out of time. So with the driving for dollars list and your government list, you're going to run out. So we're going to build that within our $500 budget. And then, guys, you got to understand, man, you're going to become a list ninja. And I literally mean that. You have to study list and play with the filters and get it perfect. So when I was broke doing this, if I only had $200 to spend on a list, and guys, we spent between $200 and $800 on every list. You don't know how good you have it right now. I had to make it perfect. I didn't want to waste one dime. So I just constantly mess with the filters. I rather you spend 3 or 4 hours on a list than you spending 3 or 4 hours on a comp. Comping is for realtors. I get it. We still have to have good comps. But honestly, if you don't have a good list, don't even worry about running a comp because it's not going to work. So how do we spend the $0 to $500? So I'm assuming I'm going to give you the top line budget of $500, and I'm telling you exactly how I'll spend it. And we can debate it. We can talk about it. You guys let me know what you think. But I'm telling you, today, you said, Rick, you only got $500. This is exactly how I would spend it. Now, the numbers are much bigger from when I started because things were a lot cheaper. So number one, I set aside $35 a month for coffee. Like, Rick, hell, I can get coffee in my own home. Number one, the coffee's not for you. The coffee's for all those people you want to sit down, pick their brain, you want to network with. Maybe you have another wholesaler successful in your market. Instead of taking them out to lunch or dinner, which you're going to go broke doing that, and you're going to gain a lot of weight, is go take them to a Starbucks or a local coffee store. I could do without Starbucks. And just go buy them a cup of coffee and sit down and talk to them. And by the time that coffee's done, you need to be done with them. Why? Because you got to respect people's time. But $35 could probably get you, you guys tell me, unless you guys are doing those maca latte triple shot express things, just go get a basic cup of coffee. And here's the deal: like Starbucks says, you get refills for like 50 cents. So do that. Buy the person whatever they want. You got to if they get the triple latte mocha, it's just going to eat your budget. But most people are pretty respectful. And then just talk to them. When they're done with their coffee, you need to be done. The lunch and dinners is just a huge waste of time. And you do not want to go to a bar to do this. So a coffee is perfect because coffee works at any time of the day. And the story, guys, like this $35 has made me millions. Unfortunately, I spend more than 35, but I'm just telling you, you got to be a little bit on a budget when you're doing this. The next one, I want you guys to go to your local RIA for networking. Now, here's a little hint. Usually you go to the first meeting for free, the first few meetings for free, print, go to your local RIA site, which stands for Real Estate Investor Association, and they'll have a free coupon. They want you to come in and see what it's all about. I'm going to give you some rules to this. This is a networking event. The most important time is before the meeting and after the meeting. The meetings are kind of boring. I'm not going to lie to you. There's some good stuff there, but you're going to get a lot of gurus that talk theory, and they're going to try to sell you everything. I don't blame them for doing it. I used to run one. I used to be guilty of it. I was like, this product's pointless. What they do is they split it with their local RIA host, and the local host job's to fill the seats. And then he's supposed to bring in quality speakers. But the problem is they have to bring in speakers that actually pay so they can split the product. So go learn. Don't buy anything there. Local RIAs are for networking. Some of my absolute best friends in wholesaling were discovered at a RIA. And the RIA didn't really make me money. The contact has made me beyond. When I say millions and millions, it's endless. And I have about 6 contacts I've made at my local RIA that have dramatically changed my life. And I'm just telling you, go there. And remember, 2 ears, 1 mouth rule. You have to ask high quality questions and let people talk. And then you're going to have to avoid the people that are just going to waste your time there. So this is a great place to learn from other wholesalers, find investor friendly realtors and so on. So now we keep moving down the line. Now I'm going to get a little more advanced on here. I would make sure I had $75 for gas to do my driving for dollars. It just, give or take. Hopefully you guys aren't hauling around in a excursion or anything like that. But try to get like an affordable car. Like Rick, get an EV. No, because you're going to go broke buying the EV. But like $75, I think, is a reasonable number. It might be closer to 100 in today's dollar amount, but you need to know that going into it. So I didn't listen. If your parents pay for the gas or somebody else, then this gives you bonus money. But if you're on your own and you're paying for things, you need to account for this, because a lot of people don't account for this stuff. It adds up. The next one, guys, using these software companies, there's only a few me and Zach will ever even recommend to you, because number one, we have to use it in our business. Everything we recommend to you guys has been in our business 1 year plus, mostly 2 years plus. ListREI.com. I'm just a little bit biased. I think it is like the one and done for me if I'm on a budget. $99. You get a driving for dollars app in there. You get all the comps you want to do, and you can find out as much information on the property, and you get 10,000 leads a month. Guys, I already told you I just pay between $200 and $800 per list. So $99 a month, you can get that all wrapped up. It's better than having an employee, and I make it part of your $500 budget. You still have to do the work. So the other one you can do is ZachData.com. It's a little bit more advanced, and that's where you can do some of your bulk skip tracing, which I will highlight here. And then you can use the driving for dollar app. If you're really going to go in and do the driving for dollars, you need to do the dmzach.com. It's like $60 a month. It will well organize the stuff for you, and it works really well. Now, the last part of the money I'm going to spend is going to be on bulk skip tracing. This is when I just run out of gas. I just got 200 fresh leads, and I got to process and pay them. So if you go over to ZachData.com, and there's a million other sites, but this one's it's very professional. It's the most organized one. It's the one we use in our business. Is I've set like $250 aside. You got to get phone numbers to do cold calling, or this is painful. And a lot of people do not set the money aside for it. Dude, guys, I used to pay $1.50 per phone number when I first did skip tracing. I thought it was the greatest thing I ever done. Now you're down to anywhere from 12 to 15 cents. I've heard even 10 cents. If you can get it cheaper, great. Be very careful using a third party, because a lot of times they're stealing the data and they're going to use that same data to attack your list and sell it to somebody else. So that's why we like using exactdata.com. But if you add those all up, it comes to just a shade under 500. If I leave $20 to do the envelopes and the letters, might be a little bit more. So maybe just a tad over $500. This is how I'm going to attack it. It seems like a lot, but it's not. And the crazy part is sometimes you have to sit down and write down what all this stuff costs, because a lot of people don't know what stuff costs. So yes, truepeoplesearch.com is free. And then you can use a paid one if you're running out of time, because here's what happens. When you're doing thousands and thousands of numbers, you're going to get like arthritis of the fingers typing in all this stuff in truepeoplesearch.com. Whereas if you use a paid bulk skip trace, you can put 500 numbers in there and it spits them out, which is really convenient. Now, it's never completely perfect, but I'm telling you, it's huge. So I've never been a big cold caller until I brought Zach into my company, and then we completely changed our philosophy. You learn so much in this business, and that's how you learn. And guys, this is it. So if you can't get 2 or 3 deals from the strategy I just showed you, there's something wrong with the way you're doing it. Remember, I didn't say you're going to get them overnight. The idea is to get in contact to get a contract within 30 days. The only way you can accomplish that with $500 less is a ton of consistent, massive action. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be painful, but it's extremely doable. All you need is one. Guys, when I started this, I didn't know one person in the business. I didn't even know what I was doing. I had no idea what an EMD was. Here's the only difference is I just wanted to do it, and I knew it works. I just had to find a way to make it work with me. You are no different than me. So what we have to do is break down to see how we can get you effective in doing it. Some of you guys are like just kicking around wholesaling right now. Some of you just got started, and some of you are frustrated, and I get it. And I'm here to kind of represent everyone and help everybody out doing it. So my biggest fear when I started wholesaling after my first year is I'm going to run out of deals. I'm here on year 21, guys. I've never run out of deals. Have I had challenges? Absolutely. But I want to share with you guys today, and I am going to switch it over and do talk with you guys now. So that's it. So if you have any particular questions, put them in the comments, jump on the live, and let me see here. I had some questions I want to answer real quick. I saw in here. Let's see. So guys, like on the texting, you can add it if you can do it, but like the texting is, you have to get to a platform, and I don't know of any platforms under $500 a month. That's why I stayed away from it. But if you can, share it with us. That's it. So what's up, Jason? So Jason thinks I'm legit, so that's good. I've been doing this 21 years. I don't like going anywhere, but he's right. The only secret that is action. And if you want to pay someone $5 or $10 grand to tell you to take action in wholesaling, I guess I could come up with a charity you guys could donate it with. But it's so funny. People like, you and Zach are really, you're disrupting. We're disrupting the industry because they have a set good old boys or good old girls way to do it. And I think it's ridiculous. Like, we should be sharing this information. Guys, I do deals all over the country. The more I share, the more money I make, the more money you guys make. And then I share you like a basic skill of doing wholesaling. And then in return, you guys always want to do deals with me. You love to learn, and you come back here, spend time with us. And that's why I like doing this. So I appreciate it, Jason. Thank you so much. Let me get back to. So here's a good one. How about Google Voice and bandit signs? I agree. Now, here's the challenge of bandit signs. If you guys order from these stores and have printed, you're going to get killed. So the average cost, and I know this well because I used to, I bought an entire company to print signs. I think I spent $250,000. Huge mistake. It's just ridiculous, the cost. So the average sign with a stake and it printed delivered to your door is $3, like 335. They weigh a lot. They're in big boxes. They're ridiculous. So here's what you need to do: find a local sign store or sign printer, and what you want to do is buy a box of blanks. They're corrugated 18 by 24s. Now, if you guys, so in Florida we have this company called Grimco. Here's a little secret: you can actually become a distributor, and you don't have to pay sales tax on it. Now you have to register it. Depends on what state you're in. If you can buy them at cost and not pay tax, then all I do is take that giant Sharpie. You get them at Home Depot. I think they're like $2 or $3, and then just write the signs out. Write out 20 signs and put them out. Do not complicate it. The professional printed signs are just a huge waste of money. I'm sorry. So to get discounting, you have to do 500 signs, which means you're going to invest $1,500 to $1,700 probably plus shipping. That's an enormous amount of money. So just let me get this off of there. Okay, so guys, if you are new, make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com. I'll scroll in on the bottom here. So Agron says he ordered signs off eBay. You just got to be creative, because if you go to these regular printing signs, by the time they make them and ship them to you, like they're only making like 20 cents per like sign. So it's a very slim market. So maybe find something on eBay, but like simplify your signs, guys. People don't care how professionally printed you have them. They just don't care. So wait a minute. Let's see. I'm picking away through here. Nick says, are you magnetized signs on car doors is a good way to advertise? Guys, I've tried it. I've had nothing but problems with those signs. Like they get ripped off your car, and if somebody pulls and drags the magnet, if you have a decent car, it'll destroy it. It creates parking problems if you're in HOAs. I've never been a big wrap the car in a sign. I once bought a old UPS truck. My wife thought I lost it. I striped the whole thing. I spent a fortune, guys. I spent over $10,000. It was a nightmare. And customers got really upset when my employees pulled up through there. And so then I would park it in like public places, and I think I got $3,000 in tickets, and I just got rid of it. So good thinking there. So yes, this is recorded. So let's jump on and do some lives, and let's help out. Let me get going here. Vince got cut off the other day, man. What's going on, Vince?
What's going on, Rick? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, man. We got a better connection today. So
yeah, I got like every third word. I'm like, I just like when I can't hear, I just kind of let you know. I'm best to try back, and then if not, you jump on. So if you guys are out and about in your car, just understand it's challenging to do some of the lives, because when you're on like LT or stuff like that, I get like every third word. So what's going on, man? What can I help you out with?
So I got good bad problems. So
okay, so do I.
So yeah, exactly. So basically, I got a property under contract. The seller, I thought he was going to cancel the contract because I told him, hey, we got to get the tenants out before closing. And so he was like mad about that, saying, hey, you told me I didn't have to worry about the tenants, X, Y, and Z. But I told him that because he wasn't giving me enough information about the tenants until we went to the property and saw how damaged the property was. They wasn't paying rent the past 3 months. So I'm trying to figure out now, I'm guessing he talked to other wholesalers and they couldn't give him the price that I had. So now he's like, hey, I'm gonna put a 3-day eviction on the property. My thing is, should I go to the property? This was on Wednesday when he put a 3-day eviction in.
So he put it on, right?
Right.
So he's agreed to carry through on the eviction.
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So
So here's my question to you: Is I've always told you guys, your sellers, they always listen much more to what you say than whatever you put on a contract.
mm,
And I will go to tell you that 9 times out of 10, they expect you to honor whatever verbally you've done. You always have to do written paperwork. And sometimes like negotiations go and like they get mixed up on it. And dude, I've been in this thing like forever. So here's what I can tell you: whatever you told them to do, that's what they're going to expect you to do. And you have to be honest with yourself. I've made mistakes too. I've said like, "Hey, I'll take it with the tenant," and then I find out other stuff. I'm like, "Well, now I'm not going to take it with the tenant." And what they do is they substitute your verbal contract with your new written contract. And at some point, you have to have like a coming to Jesus meeting and sit down and go, "Okay, listen, guys, you know how I feel. Some of the best properties I buy are problem tenants because they drive people nuts.
mm,
You just can't let them, you can't take on that problem too. So if you're getting a smoking deal, like 50 cents on the dollar, I understand you're probably going to have to take on that tenant and deal with it. Now, you can ask the landlord for help because you can't file an eviction or do anything because you're not the legal owner of the property. The contract doesn't give you a right to evict.
mm,
Sometimes they want to cooperate, sometimes they don't. The reality is evictions cost money, they cost time, and when you have a difficult tenant, so you have to decide what decision you made and you want to stick to it and kind of honor it. The problem is all motivated sellers is hear what you're going to do, and when it changes, they try to hold you to the original conversation even though they didn't give you the material facts either on the tenant or the condition of the property.
mm.
And this is where it gets sticky. When it gets muddled down, sometimes you just got to go meet with the seller and go, okay, I think we have a little bit of a misunderstanding. And just because if you wait till like the day of closing, it's a nightmare. That's like realtor land. And I don't live there. So what's the problem with the tenants?
So the tenants haven't been paying the past 3 months. They just destroyed the property. I told him if he wants the number he wants, like I can keep the tenants in there, but we're gonna have to drop at least 5-6 grand.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to do that, and I guess this is why I feel like he felt like he's gonna stick it out with me. I told him I got the agreement to the 28th, and secondly, he blocked me. Like I couldn't call him. I mean, I could. It was going through. He got
That's
mad
not
at
a
me.
good sign.
Right. So I guess he was looking around and see someone because he always said somebody else was offering him more. I'm like, I don't think they fully understand what is going on with your situation. So I'm guessing he called me that the next day because he shopped around and realized, hey, I'm not gonna get what I thought I was gonna get for this property. So my thing is, how do I play it? Do I do cash for keys now, or do I wait till next week to go there?
So have you talked to the tenants?
We've been there, like we did the whole run through with the buyers, so they already know we've been there a couple times. Well, this is a
So
virtual. So
do you have a buyer set up for the property?
I have two. I have two right now that want it vacant, and then the deal will work. I don't. Yeah.
I got it. So I mean, it's not. So do you still have communication back open with your seller?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I will tell you this: you have to go and befriend the tenant. You have to be like, I'm on your side.
Mm-hmm.
So the easiest way to do is you don't technically own the property, so you can kind of go in and just. Sometimes we just go up there. You got to understand that there's always two sides to a story, right?
Okay.
A lot of these landlords, I'm just going to tell you guys, they're cheap, they don't take care of the property, and they're not nice to their tenants.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard every horror story in the world. So you have to go in with an open mind because in the end, you already have the seller kind of locked down. Now you got to lock down the tenants. So you have to go in and underwrite, what do I need to do to get this tenant problem fixed?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can just throw money at it and fix it, but it's the tenants 9 times out of 10, they just feel disrespected because landlords are like, I'm the landlord, right? And you have to go in and just like a simple guy going in, having like a beer with a buddy, just having a drink to like let them unload their steam.
Mm-hmm.
So go in, let them unload the steam. Number two, they'll tell you a lot about the house. They're going to give you more dirt on your landlord that you probably don't want to hear about, but you have to go in And just all I'm saying is like, so what are you guys going to do? And so if you can use your rapport building skills and let them tell you what the plan is, but they're going to tell you subconsciously what they're going to do anyways. They're like, well, if they start going, I don't know, we haven't figured out anything. You have to assess the risk of like getting these people out. If they go, yeah, and if we just had a few bucks to get out of here. And here's how I always go like this. Don't ever commit. Go, what if? I'm just saying, what if I could convince John, the landlord, if you could get out by this date, I'll make sure there's no eviction so it doesn't affect your credit. There'll be no judgments against you. And maybe I can get you some money if you help make the property clean sweep to the door. Is that something? Or is that just like, should we just give the money to the lawyer? So here's a little trick I always tell tenants. I can either have so you can't be the bad guy. You're the good cop. You always have to be the good cop. Otherwise you're screwed. Because if they trash that property, it's going to screw your deal up. So you have to win them all the way to the end. Go in and be the good cop, have the landlord be the bad cop, and just play it. And just assess it. Sometimes people go in and go, I'm not getting out of here even if you put a crowbar or you throw dynamite in this place.
He knows.
So if it's that, then you have to have him do the eviction because it's going to be expensive. It's going to cost a little time. But if you have to extend the contract, remember, part of your contract is he has to deliver that property free and clear title, depending what contract you did. So on that type of contract, I would probably initially write seller to deliver property vacant, which means he's responsible for doing the tenant. If he doesn't do it and say the expiration goes by, that contract doesn't expire. He has to fulfill his end.
Right.
Because he's kind of clouded the title by doing this. But I still want to try to hold his hands and do what I can. And then when you talk to the landlord, you go, oh my God, I met with your tenants. What a nightmare. I can see why they drive you nuts. He's like, yeah, you see what I'm doing? I go, well, and then if you can use the tenant to help. So you guys, the 3-day notice sucks up like 5 days. So is this in the state of Florida? Ohio. So I don't really know the rules over there. So you have to know what's like in California, New York, it's a nightmare evicting people. Florida, piece of cake. Like Florida, 22 days, it's done. So, and by the way, your tenants usually know this. And if they're behind 3 months, usually when he files an eviction, like in the state of Florida, you have to take that 3 months rent and put it in escrow just to even fight your case. You can't just show up and say, hey, I'm screwed on it. So I would meet with them and play good cop, bad cop. And based on that intel is going to decide which step you move forward with. So one of the two ways, if you have to move on the full eviction, you do have to talk to a lawyer because transferring the rights of an eviction when the property gets sold is messy. Because you're going to have to legally start the process all over. If the guy will give you a big enough discount, you can just hand that mess off to your seller and give them a little bit of a discount and make it work. Or you can deliver it on the condition of the property is going to be vacant. Just be careful that it doesn't go on forever and make sure he's using a lawyer to do the eviction.
So bring it back. You said transferring after the eviction is messy?
After a transfer of property. Because so if he started the eviction and say you sell it to your cash buyer and they have to fulfill the eviction, you could have a battle because if the seller fights it with a lawyer, they're going to find out it transferred and you technically have to start all over. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm just telling you, just double check. So like, talk to your title company in that state,
right? And
ask them, go, listen, how does it work if he starts the eviction, the 3-day notice, and I get it sold? And just kind of know. And if you can do it, I'm sure there's a technique you can, then it would save your cash buyer a ton of time and money.
Right.
Because the 3-day, let's face it, guys, it winds up being 5 to 6 days.
Right.
And then you have to file, you got to file the law. It's basically a lawsuit. And then they have 20 days to respond. And if they don't respond, so the idea is to get all that crap out of the way as much as possible. So when it comes close to your guy, he can take it over. You can do a cash for keys within $500. It's a much safer play, but they've got to cooperate and get the hell out of there.
Do you get the money after they out, or do you give a half before, or how do you do that?
If they're extremely difficult, figure a way to fund them and get them out of there, because you'll never get them out of there. And honestly, if you have to float $500, whatever amount you give them between that and like 5 or 10 days closing, at least it guarantees your deal. If you're going to wait till it funds and does the closing, like they could get, you don't want them to wait till the last minute. And here's the deal: whenever you do like a cash for keys, it's an emotional decision. They either take it or they don't. Like, so if they do it and they feel like you're playing games with them, they will literally destroy the house. You do not play with cash for keys, people. They do not play. Because keep in mind, when they're sweeping out that door, they unload everything and they scrub the sink and the tub. That's all the money they're walking out. Like a lot of them, they don't have any money. So like when you, I know 500 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're broke, it's everything. So whenever we've done that, we get a lot. Like, and then you get people, well, that's fine. Screw that. I'm just going to squat here and I'm never leaving. It's like, oh.
Wow.
So if you get an agreement, and honestly, it usually takes them a week. Maybe you float it a week or two, or maybe your cash buyer would even help you out with that.
Okay.
But figure it out. So guys, tenants are, you have to assess your options. My favorite play is to buy the house with the bad tenants for a deep discount. And then I leave enough in there if I have to throw in a lawyer, but I know it's going to cost me time. It just works because I can be in control of everything. The other way with the cash for keys is great, but it's like a 50-50 shot. And then you're kind of do it the third way where they evict it. You just got to make sure you keep your contract and you stay in check with the seller because a lot of them get frustrated with evictions. So I don't know how it works in Ohio. So you got to work out.
Yeah.
I would talk to a title company or a lawyer to make sure you're covered on it. And then if it transfers, I would get that answer. Now you have options. You have 4 different options there and you can explore which one you do. Unfortunately, like every deal, it's like quarterbacking every time in wholesaling. It's like we are here to solve problems and tenants are a huge part of it. When I hear the tenant hasn't paid 3 or 4 months, I know I'm getting a really good deal.
Okay.
I recently took one on where the tenant hasn't paid in 3 years. 3 years. The guy goes, and you know what he said? He's like, he goes, I don't know, give me $3,000 and we'll call it a day. And so we did a creative financing deal to the whole thing. Now I had to put a roof on it and do some other stuff, but he was so tired and beaten. And we use the word capitulation. It's when someone just gives up. That is the epitome of a tired landlord. And what happens is people get into real estate and they go, oh, listen, you just buy a right? You hear the story. Just buy a property. You can buy it for like 150 grand and you come back 5 years and it's worth double the amount of money. And here's the cool part. The tenant pays for everything. So other than your initial funding, you don't have to do anything.
Right.
It's the biggest lie in our business.
Right.
Most people are not equipped to buy real estate. It is not like a stock. You have emotions, you have people, you have all sorts of laws, you got to get insurance. It's a nightmare. And when people buy 3 to 5 properties, that's why you and me are always going to be in business. They're my number one customer, the failed landlord. Okay. And when they give up, if you catch them right, man, they give up big. They're like, Rick, I'm done. And by the way, I gave up once. I owned 26 houses. It got hit by 2 hurricanes, lost insurance on all of them, and had a record property tax increase. And then I had the entire market drop out like a year and a half after that. So I went through the whole gamut. I sold so many property. I was like, I was done. I showed up to a property once. I found out there's 15 people living in a 2-1. Because you know why? Because I'm a really bad landlord. Okay. So now I don't do any type of landlording. I have a company that handles it because guys, if you're too nice, just be very careful. And my recommendation, anyone's going to own a rental property, make sure it's within 50 miles of your home base, because past 50 miles, you're not going to check on it. I'm sorry. Ask me how I know this. I got properties all over the country. I don't do them without partners anymore, period.
One more before I get off.
Yes.
I got another lead, or I don't know how this works. So I was driving for dollars. I got a hurricane damaged property. Sticky note on the door. The guy called me. Long story short, we got a number that will work for them and that'll work for me. But the thing is, going through probate, and I couldn't remember what you said to tell them. So I told them, hey, check with the lawyer. But what I told them is, check with the lawyer, but you can't sell a property before the probate is over.
Is this in Ohio?
No, this is in Florida.
Yeah. So tell me what they want to do, and then I'll give you my spiel on it. What does this seller want to do?
They trust the lawyer and they want to go through the full probate before they sell it. And I said, it's because it's a hurricane damaged property. You don't want that property just to sit there for that long. It's not going to be worth what you think it is in 6 months or so. So
So is it? I assume it's on the west coast of Florida.
it's Volusia County.
So here's the challenge you have. So I obviously I assume the property is vacant, or are they living in it?
Making probably horrible. Well, it's not bad, but it's not livable.
And how long ago did the person pass away?
I think about I want to say a couple months ago, or I think that's what he told me, or a year ago. It was one of those two. I can't remember.
So let me walk you through this. So I assume their lawyer gave them instructions that they can't sell the property till the probate's done, correct?
Right.
So, guys, this is the standard line from every probate attorney across the country. Now, in a few instances, it is correct. There's very few, though. Very few. Very specialized states. I'm not going to get into it because there's over 3,500 counties and complicated. So I know for a fact in the state of Florida, it's a 100% lie. It's a flat out lie. You know why? It's about control. So don't you enjoy when you control something? Like let's face it, when you contact the seller direct, there's no agent, there's no middleman.
Mm-hmm.
You use your title company and you know your cash buyer. You're in 100% control, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what the lawyer's doing. That's all he's doing. He's just using a technique called control. The longer I control it, the more powerful I feel, the more value they believe they provide to their client, because they believe a lawyer's job is what? To protect people, right?
Right.
Protect you from the bad people other than themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then the longer it goes, the more value and the more power, the more they can charge. Now, there is a cap on what they can charge on probates, but it's like I've seen probates go $13,000 that shouldn't have been more than $2,000. I see them all the time. So in the state of Florida, they built contingencies in there, knowing that. So how much is the house? What's the value on the house roughly?
Around 365.
And what do you think? What do you think the contract price you need to be at?
I got them at like 175, 180.
So listen, it's not usually a home is someone's biggest asset. So the reality is we're in a market where it's not going up, it's going down, and the cost of money is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is the longer they own this home, probably for the next year, in my opinion, the less it's going to be worth. And let me ask you, does the insurance bill stop? No. Does the tax bill stop? No. You still have to run some basic utilities, and you still have to, even though if it got trashed by a hurricane, there's still some basic maintenance on the property, because eventually you still have to mow the grass in Florida or it gets way out of control in the summertime. Mm-hmm. So the reality is the longer she owns it, the more stress it's going to cause her and the less money the estate's going to get. So if he or she is the PR, the personal representative, or the executor, they have the legal right to enter into a sales agreement for that property because they are representing, and they can sign a contract with you. If you can get them to sign a contract without dealing with the stupid probate lawyer, you're in control. If the contract has to be cleared by the lawyer is going to present obstacles to you. Why? Control. I have power and I am the value provider. They're going to recommend a BPO, which is a broker's price opinion, or they're going to order an appraisal. Now, guys, you only need appraisals on end user properties that are going on the MLS.
Right.
The reason they order the appraisal is to stop you and make sure you don't get a deep discount. And number two, they're going to charge between $500 and $700 for the appraisal, because guess who gets a piece of the appraisal? They do. So then they're going to tell them they'll tell them you need to use insurance mitigator or whatever. And then they're going to tell them you need to list it with this realtor. Mm-hmm. And unless you can beeline and sneak past that lawyer, you're going to get stuck. So if you can meet with your seller and say, listen, I get it. You leverage them. Go, listen, it's not going to be worth more. It's going to be a pain in the butt. And honestly, it's vacant. Let's move on. I can get you cash out. I can make it work. You can even possibly help them out with their insurance claim. Do not overpromise that. Mm-hmm. And you can sell the house for as is right now. But if you agree to it, if a buyer and a seller agree to it, that's it. The lawyer's job is just to file the paperwork.
Okay.
But they try to go, I'm going to tell you what it's worth. They are not a real estate expert. You are. Okay. And so if you can do they're going to go, well, I feel, here's what I get. I feel dirty going around my lawyer. I'm like, well, here's what I always say to you. And here's the key line is, it is your decision. It is your money. And if we enter an agreement, you know this thing's put to bed. Once they sign that contract, you are 100% in control. There's nothing the lawyer can do to get rid of you then. If you have to go through the lawyer, it's a nightmare. And here's what's going to happen. Submit your contract, and then they're going to review it. Earnest money deposit, $100. Are you kidding me? $5,000. Oh, the contract can't be assignable. And they start this big game, and you'll never get through it. So you have to sweet talk them. I'm not telling people that they can't legally review. And I tell you, if it just comes down to reviewing the contract. So here's another trick. You take the seller's name. What's the seller's name?
Ruby.
Ruby. So Ruby. So if I get you right, get them to agree on the price. Are you okay on the price? Yes. Go over it again. Are you okay on the price? So if you're okay on the price and you would like to close quickly as possible, then what is it you want the attorney to review? Well, I'd feel more comfortable if they review the contract. That's fine. So if he reviews the contract and they say it's good to go, we're good on the price, right? Yes. If you anchor with that, because the attorney's going to go back, that price is ridiculous. And she's going to, no, I agreed to that with him. I told him the price isn't an issue. I just want to make sure the contract's legit.
Mm-hmm.
You're still going to get bullshit that comes back on it. Sorry. Like they're just going to go, well, you got to change this verb.
Right.
You got to change to this. You're okay with that. You'll play that game a little bit. They're going to screw with you on the deposit. But worst case scenario, if you have to do that, anchor her on the price and you being the buyer and just say, listen, if this contract works and reviews it, that's fine. The minute he starts telling you what you need to pay for it, you got to go back to her. I go, I thought we already agreed on the price.
Mm-hmm.
It's her decision in the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then once they do that, you enter in a contract, you give it to your title company, and then your title company will basically give instructions. And you just say to your title company, what motion does the lawyer need to file to liquidate this asset? And here's what happens. A check gets made out to the estate of John Doe. The probate's still open, and then they wrap it up. But they have this, if she gets $100,000 proceeds, she's not paying any more bills on this house.
Okay.
The value of it's not going down, and you just figured out her biggest problem. It's a huge win-win. She can still continue on the insurance claim and stuff like that. And that's it. But anchor her on the price, because that's what the lawyer's going to come back and go, like, this price doesn't work right. We're going to have to get an appraisal.
Okay.
But listen, an appraisal's for people that fix up houses and get bank loans. I'm just buying it cash from you. You're okay with it. The house is vacant. You want to move on with your life. What is it you need him to review? And normally they'll go, I just want him to look over the contract. If he just wants to review the contract, I'm okay with that. You still got a bit of a risk with that. But that's why you've got to understand, like, you think a lawyer would always tell you the truth, but I'm here to tell you they manipulate the words.
But that's my thing. I'm like, they're like, oh, it's a family friend. I was like, he's still a lawyer at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's it. So anchor her on the price. So when he tries to flip on the price, she's like, no. Me and Vince already agreed on the price. That's the easy part. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of times the lawyer will start to let go. Like, okay, whatever, she knows. You'd be surprised. I've had people want to do a contract with me, and the lawyer convinces them that's a bad deal. It's a bad price. Even when they agreed on it, he goes, I could get you a better one. I've actually had multiple lawyers backdoor me and buy a probate. That's how disgusting it is. But there's some ethical lawyers out there. But if you can slip past that, look at the lawyer in probate as the goalie in hockey. Mm-hmm. Like, he's just going to try to stop everything. Mm-hmm. So you just got to show up. And here's the good news is most lawyers need 5 to 10 business days to review anything. Right. And that's going to drive you nuts too.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. Your job is to get it through probate, not decide who buys it and at what price they buy it. It's to me, it's unethical. But get past, if you could sneak past that lawyer, man, I'm just telling you, it's and the lawyer and so, by the way, if you called the lawyer up front, they will never take your call, which you never need to deal with them. But the minute you get on a contract, you'll get an instant call from the lawyer. I'm like, how did you do that? Like, no, she wants to sell the property. Let's get this thing going.
And my last thing is, maybe you could talk, because, you've been in this for so long, is you deal with buyers because that deal in Ohio, I had a buyer, but he backed out. And he's like this big wig in the city, but never could just say, I'm not interested in it. That's all I wanted to hear was, you're not interested. That's okay. But he contacted me and saying, "Oh, well, he's on vacation. I'm sorry, I couldn't X, Y, and Z or whatever." And so my thing is these buyers that's like just ghost you or just don't say, "Hey, they want to do this," or they go in and then they ghost you. It's like, how do they come back when you get more deals? You know what I'm saying?
I actually I spaced out. I did a
So
little ADHD for full
no,
disclosure.
so
Sum that up again.
So no, I'm just saying. Basically, I have like a lot of buyers in Ohio, but
Okay.
it was one out I got. I was going to go on the contract with. He didn't put the EMD in. He ghosted me on the property, and he never put the EMD in. Then he called and he texted me like a week later. Oh, I'm sorry, I was on vacation, surprise vacation, whatever.
Yeah.
But my thing was, why you just want to tell me you're not interested in the property? They
Yeah.
never tell you I'm not interested.
Just get them off your list because they'll do it. Here's the one thing. Humans are creatures of habits.
Mm,
When they screw with you once, they'll just keep doing it over and over. Dude, I have this one particular buyer in my market. I'm not going to say it's a he or she, but they're probably watching this.
mm,
They drove me nuts for 5 years. I put up with this crap. 5 years, same thing, like over and over. Honestly, I changed my entire assignment agreement to protect myself against these types of idiots.
mm.
Just always straight. Here's what somebody taught this skill set. String someone along and make them option their time and like commit, but like you're not going to be committed on your side. Get rid of those people like the plague because it extends on all phases of their life and it's torture. The
That's
same
real.
guy that will stand you up at the dock when you go fishing. It's the same guy when you ask, can you pick up my wife? She broke down in the car. He got busy or she got busy with someone else.
That's
It
real.
is a character defect.
That's
And
real.
it takes a lot of writing. I'm just telling you, it's a lie. Oh, I had a last minute vacation. What, your cell phone didn't work? I went to Mexico and my phone worked the entire 10 days I was there. It's just a lie. So when people chronically lie to you, get them out of your life as fast as humanly possible. For the longest time, I tried to believe the best of everybody. And I just come to the point, if they're going to lie to me like this and screw around with my business, God only knows what they're going to do to me on a personal level. Get rid of them. I'm telling you, man. They say they'll only do it once. That's it. Now, I give motivated sellers the benefit of the doubt because we have to for the business. But when it comes to cash buyers, every story in the world.
Okay, so it's a typical thing.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunately you got to vet them. And when you do that, go, listen, I'm sorry. You're not reliable enough. I can't keep you on my list. And that's what I tell them. I go, you can't lie to me, dude. I'm not your wife. Like, so person's probably watching it. Like this person, and by the way, I did my homework, found out this person they do it to all wholesalers. They even do it to realtors. They're so bad that title companies don't even want to take their business anymore. So if they're doing it with you, they're going to do it with everybody. So get rid of them as fast as possible.
Rick, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Okay, man. Get it. Good job, Vince. So Vince goes out there, dude, he's just always chasing deals, and that's what I love about him. And that's why I love it. Like he always goes on the live. I got this deal. I got this. I'm working on this. And when he first started, it was like, okay, how do I get started? It's a progression, guys. Like it works really well. I wanted to bring up a comment I saw up on here. I keep seeing this. So English printable. I have 20K to get started with and work full time. How should I allocate the money to get started? Number one, stop telling people you got 20K. You are going to get hammered. You are a guru's dream with this. And by the way, the gurus, a lot of them watching this feed. Me and Zach have found out over time, and we have something we're going to do to combat this, is a lot of you guys are getting DMs and texts and all sorts of chats and stuff like that. And people think they're so cute and slick trying to sell you courses and like backdooring. And then they want to know why they get banned from our groups and stuff like that. And I get these stupid DMs saying, what did I do? I love your group. I would never violate rules. And then I get screenshots from you guys. This guy's asking me for this. This girl wants that. It's ridiculous. You screw and try to market and be a guru in our group. You are gone. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you were best friends with me for the last 30 years. You're gone. So there's no name pulling. I don't care. We are not part of the good old boys club. I don't give a crap. Go get your own group and go do it. But if you're going to do the guru business model, you are not welcomed here because it doesn't work. My favorite is collaboration over competition. Oh, until you affect my business, then your competition. So if you guys are getting messages for people to pay or they're going to help you with it, understanding they are the problem. These are the problem. People that do a few deals and then they think they can teach the world, it's a joke. Do not buy into it. Me and Zach are never going to ask you for money. If somebody asks for your money in the group, please screenshot it, send this to them. We will make sure they will never show their face here again. We had somebody on yesterday. Oh, I do X amount with, MLS. That's great. Show us proof. And the number kept changing. We never got names, never got numbers, and that's how it always works out. So if someone's messaging you for any type of money, especially crypto, we don't even talk or do it. So go confuse the other guys that do investing in crypto and they have competitions. Who's going to do more crypto than real estate or stocks or whatever? Go over to that channel. I can't do it. So stop telling people you have 20K because they will take advantage of you and they will do whatever they can to separate that 20K from you. Here's what I would do. Go over to freewholesaling.com, work through it, go ahead and get started. You don't need to pay to learn wholesaling. Someone has brainwashed everybody out there on the internet, said you have to pay to learn wholesaling. You don't. You need to have someone that actually does this business today, big time, check. Oh, and has a long track record, 20 years plus, check. And find someone that can actually teach, work with you, and who is offered the JV with you, check. So, guys, stop telling people you have all this money out there because they're targeting you. So, believe it or not, as safe as I think this group is, there's people targeting, because I got a message yesterday, someone crying about how they got banned from the group, says, I don't know what I did. And then I look at the screenshots. I look at all the solicitations they've done to have people pay them. Bye-bye. I'm so sick of it, man. Are you so short-sighted you just want to take $500 or $1,000? Like, go out and do the business, show people the checks, make millions of dollars, and then come back and provide massive value. Don't do 3 and 5 deals and tell everybody you can show them how to do it. It's ridiculous. So, it drives me nuts. Okay, so that's my rant. So sorry about that. Guys, if you get message, man, call them to the plate. Look at this. Glad I just found you guys was planning on signing up for a $6,500. I mean, So here's my theory on this. I think everybody should learn wholesaling first. That is the skill set that will free your life. Creative financing is a natural progression to it, but a lot of people think they can replace creative financing because they don't want to do wholesaling. And if you want to do a long play, but the problem is a lot of creative financing, especially brand new, you have to put seed money in and you have to wait 3 to 5 years to get paid. So if you can do creative financing and make bank from day one, I'm all for it. I love it. And I don't know everything about creative financing. There's people better than me out there, but I never said creative financing can replace wholesaling. If you have them work side by side with each other, it's extremely powerful. So awesome. Okay. Nolan, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
What's going on, Nolan?
Just taking all this advice that I can. It's a lot of information, so I'm trying to take it step by step.
You got to smile a little bit. You're like you sound like kind of somber.
Yeah, I was just reading a pretty upsetting text. Caught me off guard, but
anyway, okay.
It'll be all right. But I was kind of curious your perspective on like schooling, especially going on the real estate and I guess wholesaling. Because I know Zach went to college and everything, so I was kind of curious how you kind of see that.
You're talking about college?
Yeah.
So are you at like the crossroads or?
I'm currently a freshman in college and not really seeing the value fully. But then I have a lot of people who are in very high positions, I guess, saying that they do see the value, and then I also have other people saying they don't.
So let me. Are you paying for college on your own?
Let's just say no.
Okay, so like either you're paying for your own, or your parents usually pay for it. Those are usually our options.
Yeah,
right?
It's not coming out of my pocket. Let's say that.
So here's the reality, okay? Because I went through this as a parent, so like I'm an expert on it. I come from a schooling background. So my wife used to be a teacher. She's got her master's. And so education's always been like a really big thing in our family. Like my father think education is the most important thing. I'm here. It didn't help me, dude. It didn't help me back in the 90s. And if you're going to do, in my opinion, this is my opinion, if you're going to do any type of business, I'm here to tell you, college is so far behind on what's going on in the real world. It's almost a joke. The reality of most business taught in college is taught like, here's how Coca-Cola does stuff. Here's how Pepsi does stuff. Here's how IBM does stuff. And they're huge, giant corporations. The world's changed. The world is mostly made up of small, independent companies, just like myself. That's the reality of it. So you have to learn how to do everything. We have a global market right now. There's like, I don't rely on everybody in the United States to get everything done. So the problem is if you drop out of school, you're most likely going to disappoint people in your family. It's the truth. Like, let's just deal with it. So if someone's paying for it and it's not taxing you, you got to start looking past college, because look at college as an extension of just your regular K through 12. That's all it is. It's not going to give you any type of competitive advantage. College is there to train you so you'll become a great employee. Why? So you'll contribute to the government payroll tax so they can get their cut with you. That's it. And that's why, here's the problem is, say you make 100, 150 grand in a couple years. Well, then you're going to get a W-2. Guess what? You're going to get walloped with. You're like the government's walking billboard. You're their favorite person because they're always going to be in your back pocket. So individual business owners, they learn how to buy assets and offset their taxes and take advantage of every loophole you can. As an employee, there is no loophole. There's nothing. 401k is about your only loophole. So you got one or two choices. Just blaze through school and get it done and just get it over as fast as you can and start doing something on the side, preferably wholesaling if that's what you do, or get the hell out of it. Like if I had to take your position, if I had 4 years and say you just started saying you got another 3 years, you would make a hell of a lot more money, like working directly with a company, even doing like an internship or something like. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
But all our parents are brainwashed about how schooling works. And I was the first generation to kind of break that cycle. Now, college back in the day used to be the thing that divided you. Like, honestly, anybody in my company, I actually prefer you don't have a college degree, because it's like, what am I going to do with it? Like, the only thing, so I went for finance. Zach went for finance and accounting, and I was able to learn spreadsheets. But the honest with you, I probably could have taken an online course in 4 weeks and saved and I spent 6 years at college. That's terrible. I went for all the wrong reasons. So anyone who tells you that college is the greatest time, is the best time in your life, they did it wrong. So if you take advice from them, then that's it. Do you really want to peak at like 20, 21 years old?
Yeah.
You don't know shit. Like, I was like, sorry about the language. It's like you can make millions and millions of dollars. It's not even that hard, but you're never, ever going to do it. For the most part, the percentage of people making $1 million plus that went to college, it's like the caliber of it is like the amount of people that make it to the NBA or like the NFL. So here's the reality is, you have to make a decision. I believe my son, so I told my son this because I said, listen, I'm changing it. Even though I can afford to send you to college, I told him, I'm not paying for it. You're just going to have to make a decision. My wife looked at me like, what are you, nuts? I go, this is going to teach a valuable lesson. So if he wants to go, like, he's responsible for it. So he went and got scholarships and did everything. And he got if you guys can get your AA degree while you're in high school, a lot of the government programs already pay for it. So he had a 2-year head start. So I was like, go through 2 years, no big deal. He went away for like a couple semesters and he came back. He's like, college isn't for me. Like, they're bumbling idiots there. Yeah, they're running up their parents' credit cards. They're drinking, and I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just want to grow a business. I know the sooner I start growing the business, the better off it's going to be. So you're going to have to make the decision between pleasing your parents but like understanding, here's the reality. When you graduate from college, most parents go like this. Okay, you're on your own, Nolan, figure it out. And then all the crap, that's when all your mistakes happen in life. So the sooner you can understand how the real business world works, that you want to do it, the better off you are. Unless you're going to go for engineering, medical, or legal, you were forced to go through our college system. But like business-wise, Now, here's a compromise, guys. Think about this. Do you know people have no idea if you got your degree online or you went to the university in person for it? They have no idea. And to me, that is a great compromise. My son finished his last year at University of Florida online. So he's got his full diploma on there. Does it say he took it online? No. And guess what? You don't have to pay the ridiculous housing cost, all the other stuff. And then it's a higher use of your time. And then he could go out and wholesale. He was meeting with sellers while he was taking his college course, and it was extremely manageable. So you got a couple of options here. Grin and bear it, just get it over with as fast as you can, rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
But understanding a lot of 4 years college will make you dumber than when you started, because you think this job's just going to save you. Like, I'm watching my son's friends come out of college. They're all going to get sales jobs, and they're like, it's brutal out there. I'm like,
Really?
They're like, Zach, how'd you do it? He goes, I bit the bullet. I took my 4 or 5 years training, and that's it. So you're going to bite your teeth on it some way or the other. Because I always tell kids, when you go out and get your first sales job, don't even worry what it is. Just get it, because you got to get the experience. Yeah. Same thing with wholesaling. You have to get the experience. So the first one is you rip through it. Number 2, you vacate it completely, but you know the downside of that with your parents. But keep in mind, when you're done with college, like, your parents are usually done with you. Like, there's this crazy gap in America, whereas my son goes to Stanford, and then when you graduate, you're just like, okay, son, where are you moving to now? Like, they want to get rid of you like the dog they're taking out to the pasture. It's just like, parenting doesn't stop when you turn 22, 23. But I'm not going to sit down and let my kids live in my basement forever. They're going to learn. Like, I never gave my son a car. Like, I didn't give him it. Like, I'm telling you guys, if you guys think you're going to sit there and provide for your kids, and like, you're just setting up future disappointment for them when they got to figure out how the real life works. So number 2 is get the heck all the way out of it. Or number 3 might be a compromise where you do some online stuff and you get better management of your time and start understanding you're going to get a very, very small education in college for business. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do you think they're prepared to deal with AI that's coming out? Not even close.
Yeah, it's pretty outdated. No, I mean, the thing that has me mixed the most is, like, today I met with this guy, their mutual friend. He has like $3 billion worth of like affordable housing apartments, and I asked him this as well, and he was like, he pretty sternly, he was like, I think you'd be going against the grain if you didn't. He was even saying, like, for getting commercial loans, like, getting commercial loans, like, even like some of the banks will kind of look at your education. I was really surprised when he said that.
Listen, it's the education thing is a check on the box. So if you know that, number 1, please God, don't anyone ever sign these stupid student loans. They are set up to manipulate the crap out of you. Like, people at 17, 18 signing loans to pay for the rest of their lives, you're not going to get a return on it. So stop signing it. You can go to community colleges. You can do online. You can get through it. So if you guys have time, and I have someone catching them young, get your AA while you're in high school. It's paid for. You have to maintain the grades, but most college is a bragging on your parents. And I just stopped with my kids. Like, I'm proud of them, but like, college does not define you. The most help you need is when you got out of college. The biggest risk I had when I was young was from when I graduated college, that 4 or 5 years trying to figure out, it was hell. And if I did it earlier, I would have learned so much more and would have been such a better business person. But I had to learn the hard way on a lot of the stuff. So the reality is, you have to get it. You have to, you got to find what area you want to be. So if you want to be in real estate, specifically in wholesaling, there is no college. The college is freewholesaling.com. But the reality is, you just work through it. And it's like a course that never stops. That's the reality of business. Business isn't where you go to school 4 years and you just pop in and you're a productive employee. And what's the first thing people look for when they're going to get a job out of college? What's the number 1 priority for people?
For like employers?
No, when you go out and you shop around jobs, what's the one thing? Like, I get it. You want the nice place. It's money.
Yeah.
And you all get sucked into it. Someone goes, well, we're going to give you a base salary of $80,000 if you hit your targets and all that. Most of you are going to wind up in sales jobs. And that $80K, they're going to fire you in 3 to 6 months if you don't hit your numbers. They're not going to play with you. And you go, well, I'm getting $80K for the rest of the year. No, you're not. You're going to get 90 days. So break $80K down and break it up over a 12-month period. And if you do not perform and help their company make money, they're going to fire you, and they're just going to keep the revolving door going on. And that's the reality of where we're at. So What you want to prevent, here's the biggest problem with people in college, is the day you graduate, so fun, the pomp and circumstance, people are clueless, man. They have no idea what they're about to encounter in the real world.
That's what I've
And
seen.
that's the challenge. I did not discover wholesaling until I was 33 because I did the college thing. I did the pump. I gave 12 years to a company. Dude, it was a nightmare. So that whole thing, I wasted 16 years of my life. I can help you make one adjustment, but remember, it's got to come from you. You're going to get, at the end of it, guys, the reality is when you graduate college, your parents are kind of done. Like, they love you, but they don't even know what to do with you. So you have to start taking ownership and accountability. Life isn't about your parents providing for you forever. You need to find a way to get on your own. I come from the old school. We take care of ourselves first, and we take care of our family, and we do things to make society much more productive. So I know I'm giving you a lot on it, but you're going to have to choose one of the choices. The path of least resistance is finish college and then jump off that cliff 4 years later. You're going to be in the same spot, Lo. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can do a combo of both, but like, guys, stop worrying about these degrees. If you get it online at Stanford or University of Florida, University of South Florida, it is not on your diplomas. So why do you guys pay these huge premiums for this? I do like schooling. It helps you think and stuff like that. But honestly, as fast as you can get through it, it's going to have zero benefit to you in wholesaling or real estate, in my opinion. Why? Because I did it. It didn't help me out at all. I smoked 16 years. So if I can save someone from it, the reality is I needed the most help the day I graduated college, which means the day I went into college, I needed the most help then. Everybody thinks college solves your problem. I'm just telling you, it usually just creates more problem. So I get it. Like when you go away, the social skills, but like, are you really learning anything if your parents are paying for everything when you go away for school? You're not on your own. Really. Oh, okay. Yeah. You know what the reality is? The parents get a vacation. Like it's just I'm just telling you the way it is, man. I'm tired of people saying college is the best 4 years of your life. Boy, if that's it, man, like you and me are not going to get along. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Every year gets better in my life, and it's going to do to the day I die. That's it. So you're going to have to do some soul searching, make a decision, but understanding if you get pushback from your parents, what do you like? I'm going to ask something. What do your parents do for a living?
Dad works at corporate America, which is why I don't ever want to do it my entire life. I mean, there's no job that like I want that would require a degree. It's just a matter of, is it going to help accelerate my life in terms of just any aspect of whether it be the degree, the education, or like the network, really.
Yeah. The reality is once you start working for someone, it's like a drug, dude. It's hard to get off. So the great thing I was able to do with my son, Zach, is he only worked at like the local grocery store, and that was enough to drive him crazy.
That's exactly what happened to me.
And he's just like, man, I go, oh, it gets 10 times worse the higher you get up the ladder. It's like you're always going to have a boss. But, you know, it's no picnic being an entrepreneur sometimes. It's a pain in the butt. But how old are you?
19.
Yeah, it's like, I'm telling you, being a W-2 employee, I don't know how anybody survives. Like,
I don't either.
So if you earn $100,000, by the time they take out your FICA, your Social Security, your Medicare, and whatever withholdings you have, guys, it's like, if you don't understand how tax brackets work, the more you make, the more they take out of your check. And so if you have no assets to offset it, say you make $150,000 a year, like so taxes are progressive. I'm not here to explain how taxes work, but you'll learn, because once the government starts taking your money, you will learn quick. Is anywhere from 10% on the lowest bracket to up to 35%. And once you get over $200,000, you are a dead man walking if you do not figure out how investments work, because the government will basically be your 35% partner. It's expensive. So understanding if someone make $1 million in salary, the government's going to take $350,000 right off the bat. That's why you talk about all these people like no college in the world is going to teach any of this crap. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's like like marketing. I took marketing in college. I thought it was like, because I was always fascinated in marketing. All they did is taught me how to run a marketing department at a large corporation, which is useless for stuff I do with you guys here. So 70% of our business world are small business entrepreneurs, like business owners like us, and there is zero catering to you. Do you know at University of Florida they actually have an entrepreneurial division in their school, and I kind of laughed, but
No,
it
I'm the
was
same.
decent. They're trying, but the problem is everything in a institution is usually 10 to 15 years behind what's going on in the current business world. So make a decision. Don't take it lightly, but remember, when you're done with college, you're pretty much on your own. If you don't accept that fact, it is the truth. And anything you can do between now and that day to prepare you for it will get you way ahead of the game. While all your buddies are out drinking, having a good time doing this, these are the sacrifices like my son make, that people on this channel that make, to understand if I can do some short-term sacrifice, my life's going to be amazing. As opposed to all your other friends are going to go through and they're going to be living in their parents' basements forever. Don't be that kid. I'm telling you guys, there's so much opportunity. And even outside of wholesaling, I love wholesaling, but I know there's other gigs out there. There's plenty. So you know how I feel about it. Sit down with your parents and have a talk.
Yeah, I did last night.
But here's what your parents do is they always want to protect you, and they do it out of love. But sometimes you have to make some big boy decisions like what's best for your future. And here's the reality is, this is the painful part. Getting a college education is the safe play. It's safe. You are not ever going to get rich for it. And the reality is, good entrepreneurs, when you learn how to get people to pay attention to you and you learn how to solve problems and help people out, guess what? The money comes to you. And then what do? You find people that'll be good little soldiers that went to school. Just let them do the stuff for you. That's the truth. I am like, do you know what I got on my SAT? It's so embarrassing. Like, I think I got less than an 800 total. But I run millions of dollars in business, and I have plenty of people with masters and regular degrees that work for me.
Yeah.
But do you want to value a college education? Go for it. People celebrate a graduation from college like it's the greatest party in their life. And the reality is it's fake. It's hollow. It's like I don't think they should celebrate graduate. It's like it's out of control. Other than a high school graduation, that's it. Oh, you accomplished the world. I'm so proud of you. You haven't accomplished anything yet.
Yeah.
You took a class and you had to pay for it. That's your accomplishment. You just spent $100,000 on your education. So do not go into debt. And then if you can get, if you decide to stick to school to make your parents happy and just check it off the list, just get through it as fast as possible and start working on your other ventures on the side. So Zach was a little bit easier because he only had to bridge 2 years. And I think he did it in a year and a half. So it wasn't a big deal. Make sense?
Yeah. What was Zach's reasoning for at least getting the degree?
I honestly, it was his choice, and that was part of. So all the parents out there, so you guys can understand, part of your job is from the day your child's born till the day they become an independent adult is to get them more independent each day, because that's how it works in nature. There is no other animal in the world that takes care of their young forever, outside of disabilities or anything crazy. So the more independent your child comes, the better off you are. So I started my kids at 13, 14 and okay, here's what we're going to do. You need to get a job. You need to do this. And then when both my kids went to school, they had to handle their entire budget. They had to pay their tuition. They had to do everything. They had to work their scholarship money. And then I go, hey, guess what? You graduate college. Guess what? You get to pay your car insurance now. And now they're dealing with their health insurance. It's so funny. You sit down and you have these conversations with them like, man, this health insurance thing, that's crazy. I'm like, I know. And so that's what you do. You move along because we're in an age where kids are living in their parents' basements. So they're in their 40s and 50s. It's like society's going to break down if we keep this up. We have to be independent. We have to help each other. And the more independent your child is down the road, the better it is for you, because as parents, you can spend quality time with them. If you're constantly sending your kid money in their 20s and 30s, you got to relook at it. And so if it didn't work, I don't know. It just only take advice from people financially that you want to be where they want to be.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the reality is your parents are usually not the best. It doesn't mean they weren't good stewards with money.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that are very good stewards of money. They just don't know how to make a ton of money.
Yeah. That's how my parents are.
Correct. So I learned how to make a ton of money, but I wasn't a good steward of money, and I had to learn that the hard way too. So, figure out your balance. I get it. It can be a respect thing, but I left the choice up to my kid. But we had disagreements in our family on it. So it's just get through it. And so My daughter's going through getting her master's now, but like I use the same philosophy I do with her now: scholarships, online.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Housing is probably your biggest expense when you go away to college.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So nip it in the bud, right?
Yeah.
So just sit down and talk to your parents. The more honest you are, the better off you are. But like, it's going to go by quick. Just please don't wait till the day you're done with college. You have that great ceremony and you're like, I remember that feeling I had done college. I go, what am I going to do now? And I thought corporate America was going to solve all my problems. And I thought making 30 grand was the greatest thing in life until I got my first paycheck. I'm like, holy crap, how am I going to live? Fast forward to today, it's a whole different world out there. And I want you guys to understand that. So you got it. See, at least you're having the discussion. Everybody else is freaking robots. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to get a good job. I'm going to pay my taxes. And like, don't find out like me, like 12 years later, it's miserable.
No, I found out from my dad.
Yeah, it's like this is going to be painful, but sometimes look around your parents and go, listen, I love you guys, but I don't want to be like you guys, you know? And that's okay. Remember, we pick our friends, our family are chosen, and we just love them for who they are. And so most of us don't get the best financial advice from our parents. And so we just, it's all we know, it's all we trust. So questioning them doesn't mean you're a bad kid. It just means like, I need to understand how this is kind of going.
Yeah.
And your parents are like, well, we need to make you money so you get out of the house. So they think college is the quickest fix to it. And you'll make money. I don't know if so the reality is, are you going to make enough money to be able to live out of the house? Probably not. Cause I got to tell you, where do you live?
I live with my parents still when I'm not at school.
Yeah. So, you know what it costs to live on your own. So what's an average apartment in your area per month, you think?
Oh man. Let's just say 1,500.
Yeah. So
about that.
So you need like 50 grand just hard cash to pay your rent, your groceries, utilities, and everything. And remember, that's pre-tax dollars. So you start doing the math. The reality is everybody wants to make 50, 100 grand right off the bat and have a secure salary. I suppose you could do wholesaling. You can make 5, 10 here and there. You're not going to make it right off the bat, but usually in 1 year, you're going to make more in wholesaling. It's just people rather trade their dreams and take that $80,000 salary than take a risk with wholesaling. Heck, it might take you 2 or 3 years ago. It doesn't matter. So, but that's it, man. Just stay strong. And remember, at the end of the day, when you graduate college, you are on your own. I don't care what anyone says. And your parents are going to be all over you like, what are you going to do? Are you going to get a job? You're going to get a job today? You're going to get a job? And then you're going to wind up most likely going out and getting a sales job because you need something to be able to pay your rent and pay your grocery bills. And you can't do that without some sort of salary. So salaries are the kiss of death to me. I only have a few employees on salary, but like everybody contributes. If you don't contribute, get the hell out of my way because I don't care. Like it's ridiculous. So, okay, man, you got some decisions to make. Let me know how it works out.
Yeah, I appreciate the help. I did have one question about wholesaling super quick, and that's about like finding markets, I guess. How often are you switching markets?
Well, switching markets I only switch markets when it doesn't work.
Okay.
So I always do my local market, which I suggest to everyone. And then also, if you wanted to pick a virtual market, it takes about 3 months to get it profitable. So you can't keep switching. Sometimes you just got to pull the ripcord. That's the beauty of a virtual market, because if you're not getting leads and stuff coming on whatever marketing method, you just got to move. So you're just moving with the click of your mouse. But if you keep moving, you'll go broke.
Got it.
So you got to look at the data, and I like to just reverse engineer other wholesalers off their cash buying deals, and they brag so much I don't even have to spend a dime to figure it out. So it's really, guys, it is not hard to figure out the markets. Me and Zach have done plenty of videos to just steer you with you and how to get that going. So you're good to go.
Cool. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, man. I'll see you, man. Okay. So guys, let's see here. I had another question I want to answer. Let's see here. I know that would have been a little bit longer, but I know I have a lot of young kids watching this. And number one, have a discussion with your parents. Don't make a decision without consulting them. I don't want to be like the wild child, but if you're going to wind up doing college and someone else is paying for it, my only suggestion, just get through it as humanly fast as possible. And number two, understand the day you graduate, that is when you're at most risk. So the sooner you can start that journey, if you do wholesaling, my son did it while he was in college. Like you don't like, it's nothing magical happens when you graduate college other than you check the box that you paid a company to give you a piece of paper saying you have your, I don't know, your bachelor, your AA. Nobody cares in wholesaling. It's just the truth, man. So guys, if you like this live stream, do me a favor, make sure you click the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to us. And guys, if you want to get started and you need to get an education, make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com. It's scrolling on the bottom. Guys, go out and get deals. Make it happen. You are in control of everything that happens. You have to take the action. Guys, go over to freewholesaling.com. I will see you guys again. We'll be back on Sunday and Monday. So I appreciate you guys.